Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Robert with Sherburne Outdoors, and today we are talking about my YouTube setup, my studio areas, what equipment I use, and what software I use to produce all this stuff. I gotten a lot of questions over the last 3 years since we started the channel. It is 14 degrees outside with a wind chill of 1, so it's a little chilly. So we're gonna be in my garage studio, which obviously if you've been watching the channel, I do a lot of stuff in here. Kind of here's what it looks like when I'm looking at you, and also from behind, You can do these type of videos anywhere, and because it is so cold, we do have our handy dandy heater set up going over here to keep us warm. It's actually pretty toasty in there. I got shorts on. But I started my YouTube channel kind of formally about 3 years ago. And to be honest with you, I started it with a cracked iPhone, nothing else. No tripods, no handhelds, no drones, nothing that you see in all my videos today. So in this particular video, we're gonna go through 8 areas. 1, the cameras that I use, the mounts and tripods that go along with that, sound, we're gonna talk about lighting, drones, that's become a big part of what I do. And what hardware and software do I use for editing these videos, any additional subscriptions that I have, and then logo services, because I got a new logo, went through several of these. I think I've really landed on this one. So first things first, let's talk about the camera. This is how you get started. You don't need a professional studio. We're in my garage. I got some light boxes that we'll talk about in a bit. On my workbench here, and this is it. I usually am in here, I'm in the backyard, or I'm out camping in the woods. Those are really my 3 areas. They're very different in how they're set up. And then I've got an office upstairs that I do all my editing in. But let's talk about cameras, because without a camera, you can't do anything. You can start with as simple as an iPhone. Again, I started Sherburne Outdoors with a cracked iPhone. I did my first video. It was actually a fairly successful video. Looking back on that, it was really bad. I didn't know what I was doing, but I got started. I got out there, I just started doing it. So the cameras that I have chosen, Sherburne Outdoors kind of started off as a motorcycle extreme channel, and I kept getting injured, kind of transitioned into where we're at today. But I started with a GoPro 9, primarily because they're kind of indestructible. You can see here I've had tons of wrecks with these things, falling off places, just almost killing myself. And as new technologies come out in the GoPro 12, that's the one I'm moving to now. That's actually the one I'm shooting on here. I've got the 9 still with me that I do use periodically. And then I shoot everything else on a iPhone 14 Plus. So other reasons I like these is they're the GoPros versus, say, like a Canon or Sony. I did look at them. I am not a professional photographer, so the GoPro is really good for me. I know a lot of professional photographers do use the GoPros. I actually looked at them to get settings. So I use David Manning's channel pretty exclusively on GoPro settings are. And I actually took what he had in the video, put it in my stuff, and it is great. It has shot everything extremely well since I've been using those setups. So very happy with that. And really the water resistance. I always do a lot of creek shots with this. I've actually dropped it in the creek. I've fallen in the creek. So it's a really high-end camera. I think I would destroy it. And I do have the subscription services, so when I do trash the GoPros, and it has happened, I send it in there, I pay the deductible, and they send me, equal GoPro back. Other things you need to consider when you're looking at a GoPro, if this is gonna be the setup you're going down, is SD cards. So don't cheap out on the SD card. This is all your great content. As a content creator, this is your intellectual property. Make sure you're going up. I use the SanDisk Extremes. I usually go with a 256. These things are pretty cheap. You can buy everything that we're going to talk about today on Amazon. Now, when you have cameras and you're out and about, you do burn through them. One 20-minute or 10-minute video, you may shoot like 3, 4, 5 hours of video with that you're going to carve up. And so we have batteries. I use the GoPro Enduro batteries. You can buy these in 2 packs, relatively cheap off of Amazon. And then I do put these in a charging case. This actually has a built-in battery, so when I'm done with one, I pull it out, I put the next one in, and it'll be charging while I am out and about. And then it's got a USB-C that I do plug into my battery banks, which are right over there, when we are out on the trail. So I'm always full on my GoPro batteries. And that really is, I gotta be honest with you, that's the camera setup. Again, I'm not a professional photographer on the camera side. I'll leave that to those guys. I'm an amateur content creator. I've been building my channel for 3 years, almost at 6,000 subscribers. And everyone, thank you for subscribing. But, I'm more into the content itself. I spent a lot of money on the helping get editing tools, so that I've gotten better at that. But as far as the cameras go, I think I'm moving any further than an iPhone or a GoPro in the future. They seem to be getting it done for me. I know there's some new models of action cameras out there, but I've gotten so used to the GoPro and it is so reliable. It is my go-to camera. So now let's switch over and let's talk about mounts and tripods. All right, mounts and tripods. These are not necessary for your channel, but they can be very, very helpful in everything that you do. I used a very cheap, I'm talking maybe $20 tripod for the first 3 years of the channel. This is version 3 of this Amazon Basic. You can see it's lightweight and it does expand out. It has a swivel head, but it is what I would call the minimum, and I busted this thing up. This year I moved to the Alonzi Video Go. It's carbon fiber. Spent a little bit of money on here. If we look at this, it's got the extendable legs. It'll go pretty high. It'll go almost up to, I would say about 5 feet at the base of it. It's got easy swivel pieces to it, easy leveling, and it's very sturdy, and it's got a hook where you can actually hook a backpack or some kind of weight to it to make it not move. I love doing this for when we're at camp, but I also set it up when it'll go all night and we'll do our starry shot so that you can see the stars go by all night long. If you guys are curious how that works. This is the tripod I do for that. I shoot it straight up in the sky. I plug in an external battery back and it'll go all night long basically. So that is my main tripod that I'm using this year. Again, a little pricey. The other thing I use is these snap mounts. If you look here on the back of this, you can see there is a magnetic mat, plugs right into the GoPro feet, and I can take this GoPro and I can move it very easily from my main tripod from Alonzi to this GoPro handheld here. This is called the GoPro Grip. This is kind of my main go-to guy. But just pop it on here, and now I'm moving around and take it off of here and go to the next spot. Boom. So I do this a lot when I'm driving. If you've seen my videos where you can see the front tire, this is me hanging out the window like this. And yes, I have dropped this thing and busted it all up. So me hanging out the window is the old GoPro 9, not my new GoPro 12. That's the shots down there. Shoot everything in 4K. And so this is the GoPro Grip. And I got snap mounts, and I've got these. I bought extras of these, and I've got them everywhere. The next piece is really the... if you've seen me when I'm doing how-to videos and I'm like unboxing, you see both my hands working, that's because we use the necklace. This is the Alonzi POV necklace, very cheap. Just put it around here, put it on, and then get this thing set how you want it, and then pop your camera in there, and then you got access to both your hands here. And when you're done, you just pop the button and take it off very easily. So I love this. This is new. I just started using this around Christmas, I would say. So that is the Alonzi POV necklace. The other thing that I use is the Sabient flexible tripod. Now, if you have seen pictures where I'm driving by in my Jeep, it is always going to be on this. I just put this down. It's got these really flexible feet. You can make it fit anything, pop it down. It's low to the ground, and we move from there. Sometimes this is a snap just like this one is here, but it's geared for an iPhone or a mobile device. The last main mount I use is the GoPro suction cup. This one actually goes on the dash of the Jeep, and I use it to record when we're driving, or I'm talking into the camera while we're driving. It's probably a driving hazard, but I do it all the time. Sometimes I'll use this one and just hold it right here while I'm driving, but I do like the suction cup. I actually have it mounted in my Jeep right now. It's just too cold to go outside and get it. But this is kind of what it looks like. I just use the GoPro. There's some much more expensive ones. This one works great for me. I've been using it for several years. The last mount we're going to talk about is the Inky Falcon Plus. This is one I just got for Christmas, and it allows us to keep the camera steady no matter what. With this one, I get some jittery, although there's a horizon lock built in, which is really good in the GoPro. This is perfect, so I can move it around. I can really come close forward, and it just keeps everything stable. Now, it does have a joystick in it so that I can go up, and I can go down, and I can just move it around. One other thing I really like about it is it does come with an app. So as we have our piece here, I can very easily take our app, go to the control, and my use case for this is when I am driving by, instead of just seeing my truck coming and going, I would like the camera to actually pan. So if we watch here, I can actually take our thing and I can move this thing around with the joystick. Wherever it wants to go, it is Bluetooth, so I get the Bluetooth length. So pretty happy with this. This is pretty awesome. Moves around very simply, hooks into an app that's on your iPhone, and you can move from there. So that's the Inky Plus gimbal. All of these are not needed, but they are helpful for running Sherburne Outdoors. All right, next thing, let's switch to sound. So sound is a big deal. If your video is just okay and the sound is horrible, people are going to turn it off. Even if the content's great, they just aren't going to try and hear what you're saying. So when I first started, I was on the iPhone doing it, the cracked iPhone actually, and the sound was okay for the video I was making at the time. As I got moving along, it was not as good. So then I moved to the GoPro Hero 9 Black, and it was pretty good on there as well, unless I was standing behind, and you could actually hear the difference in my tone when I move behind the camera. Even though I'm very loud and have a big voice, the microphone's on the front. So I wanted to figure out how to continue to use GoPros but up my mic game. So I did start using the GoPro Media Mod. This allows you to have a built-in microphone here, and then it gives you some additional slots on the back where you can put in an additional battery, you can put in a display, and you can put in external audio. In this particular case, I started using the microphone that was built in because it's on the front and the back, and you can program which one is going to be used, or both of them. And that worked okay for a little bit, and then I found when I was moving away from the camera, moving back in, the sound quality was a little bit different. So after the Media Mod and the experience with that, I moved up to the DJI Mic 1. It's a little bit pricier. I guess it's the Mic 1 now since the Mic 2 just came out, but with the Mic 2 just coming out, it just decreased about $100 on the DJI Mic 1, which this system is great. If we look inside of here, you can see everything is inside this box. You got your transmitters, your receivers, and this box charges them. You can do a couple rounds of charging. Usually when I go out on a weekend, this will last me the entire time. And so this is a great system. If we look here, I've got my transmitter, and this is going to transmit back to the camera, but I have a consistent audio as I'm moving around. I do have a dead cat on here for wind protection or any, over dramatization of my voice or any panning that goes along with that. And then I've got the receiver on the camera. I do have another mic. I actually haven't ran into a situation where I need two mics just yet. I don't do a lot of group type stuff. Usually it's me to you. And so this setup has worked spectacular. I do this in all of my stuff unless we're driving around or unless we are kind of moving around with this guy, and I'm just talking straight to it. The Media Mod shotgun mic built in works great for that. Where this piece I'm just talking directly to here, or I'm talking directly to there, and it's right here. You're doing your vlogging or whatever. I don't do too much of that. Sometimes I do it around the campsite. I much prefer the DJI mics. So that is sound in a nutshell. Let's talk about lighting. Lighting can be a killer, no matter how good your video is. My biggest video today got 300,000 views. I made a huge mistake in there. I recorded this thing in my back porch. I thought the lighting was good. It was kind of good behind me, and my face was not lit up a lot. Got lit up on a lot of comments from that, and I decided it was time for me to invest in lighting. I wish I'd have known about this earlier, because investing in lighting is pretty cheap these days. So I use two types of lighting solutions. One is I use light boxes. If we look right here, these are the two light boxes that I use. And this is kind of the behind the scenes of Sherburne Outdoors for lighting up my face. They make a lot of other lighting solutions out there, LEDs, other things. These are just right for me. And if I'm outside a lot, I just use daylight as my lighting choice. Now, if I'm at night or I'm camping, then I take the next piece here and I do use this from GoPro. It gives me a good bit. I'll put the specs right here on what this is, but it just fits directly in our shoe right here and gives me the lighting that I need. And I can move around, and you can see here's some clips of me holding this when it's completely dark and snowing out, and the lighting's fine. So you get a lot of pushback that GoPro can't capture the light, this and that. It can, you just need to add a few things to it, but you still get the indestructible capabilities of the GoPros that go along with that. So very happy with this whole system, and this will get much brighter as you go through. You can get it flashing and do all kinds of stuff. And you can get huge bursts with it. So those are the two lighting modifications that I use for Sherburne Outdoors to get better video quality, and they were low cost. All right, the next thing we're talking about is the drone. The drone's made a huge difference in the outdoor pieces of me camping, it following the Jeep Gladiator around, and just tracking me. The drone was a bit of an investment, and it was a little learning curve when I first got it because I had to learn how to fly it. First of all, before we talk about what I use, if you buy a drone, go out into a big open area and learn how to fly it. I spent about a week. I went out for a couple days or maybe like an hour, hour and a half every day for an entire week. It was summertime, as hot as could be. But I learned how to pilot the drone. Am I a great drone pilot? No, I've had a bunch of crashes along the way. I use the DJI Mini 3 Pro. That's this guy here, and I do use the one with the video screen built in. I think I paid about $1,000 for this at the time. They're down into the low 900s now because the DJI Mini 4 Pro is out. I don't know how much it is. I think it's a lot more, but it's caused the price of this to go down. This is great. I'll probably use this for a couple more years. I've had some crashes along the way. I do have the DJI Care package where if you can find the drone, you can send it back in and they'll repair it. I haven't had to repair it yet. I have trashed some propellers in some pretty epic crashes. I've had 3 of them so far. So also with the drone package, I did buy the DJI Mini 3 Pro Fly More kit. It came with like a bag. It came with a couple extra batteries, a charging kit. This is great. Again, this goes in with our huge power station from Blue Eddy. And it came with some extra propellers. I've already burned through all of those. I bought a PGI Tech. This is kind of an investment. This is pretty expensive. All the equipment that I have, this is the most expensive thing. This is actually relatively cheap. I think it's about $50. And it perfectly is outlined to hold everything in a nice hard shell case. And it sets, it's nice. You can take it on airplanes and stuff. I haven't traveled outside of, my Jeep Gladiator with it. But this is my drone setup that I use. The next piece we're going to talk about is editing. So we have now created all of our content. We've been out either product reviewing, whatever it is that we're doing with our GoPro, our iPhone, and our drone. And we have all this content that we now need to put together and create a video out of. Now, some people do all of this on their phone. I actually do not. I use a MacBook Air 13-inch with the M2 chip in it. It's got 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gig hard drive. I just actually got this like in December, so it's pretty sweet. It does everything pretty well. I use external drives from SanDisk. I use the 2 terabyte Extreme solid state drives. They're pretty indestructible. And for video editing, for the first 2 years, I did everything on iMovie. Is it the best? Absolutely not. Did it get the job done? It certainly did. It helped me grow my channel to when I did get to 1,000 subscribers and did get monetized, I did invest in some new software. And because I was very familiar with iMovie, moving to Final Cut Pro, which is about $300 a one-time charge, was pretty fluid actually. It wasn't that big a difference. Obviously, it's much more advanced. They create movies and stuff with this, and it allowed me to transition. I was able to do my videos pretty seamlessly and get a little bit more advancement than I had the capabilities in iMovie. Since then, I have taken things up quite a few notches in the last, I'd say like 10 videos that I've done, and then I've started using a ton of plugins from MotionVFX. So if you see text flying up on the screen, or if you see me holding this and there's callouts moving around, or a whole variety of different things from zooming in and zooming out, or if the screen is shaking. These are some plugins that I have purchased. And you can go to MotionVFX. That's a great site. They plug straight into Final Cut Pro. There's very little that you have to do. I've had one issue. I sent them an email. They jumped right on that, and it was completed at that point in time. So for the whole video editing side, this is my office that I use. You can see here we've got the MacBook Air sitting right here. Here's the drives, and then here is the second monitor that I like to use. Nice quiet area versus doing it in here. So that's kind of the hardware and the base software that I use. I do add some things on. For thumbnail creations, I do use Canva. I used the free version for a bit. I've started paying for the pro version each and every month. That is an add-on subscription. I do use for copyright control music on all my stuff. You'll see videos sometimes where I'll have an introduction, or we're flying the drone and we're driving. I'll have music in there. I get all of that from Epidemic Sound. I have a monthly subscription there. Not only do I get the music from there, I get all the sound effects. So if we're like clicking a mouse, or there's a beep, or there's some kind of scream, everything comes from there, and I download that. And even if I lose turn my subscription off from them, those previously created entities are safe at that point. I just can't go forward using any of that music. The last piece is vidIQ. This actually plugs in. It's advanced tools that help me with writing descriptions, putting the right tags in. Who are my competitors out there? How does my stuff look to theirs? It gives me video ideas. It helps me write the descriptions. So I do use them. This is a little pricey. Sometimes I wonder if it's worth it, but I think it is. And so I do use vidIQ. I think you can use YouTube Buddy is also another one out there that's kind of similar to that. But I've gotten used to vidIQ and I like it. It helps me with keyword searches and putting together my videos. A lot of AI built into that now that actually can give you ideas. It can come back to you with various things. You can ask it a lot of questions and there's an AI coach. So I do like that. The last thing on all of this, putting the videos together, is logos. So here we've got our newest Sherburne Outdoors logo. I went through a couple iterations from this kind of motorcyclish one to this cartoonish one to this kind of what I consider to be a pretty professional one. And so I use a Fiverr. Now, having video services, I prefer to do all that myself. I don't use them for any of that. About once a year, I go to them for a new logo. I think I'm going to be good for a bit. I use them to create a logo. I think I paid $80 for this logo right here. The previous ones, I've done some animation and some intro movies with them, and it was a little bit more. But this previous one I just bought, I think I bought this in November. So when we started this, started ordering stickers. I like to use Sticker Mule for most things. And so that is, I use Fiverr for that. Very low cost. They got great creative talent over there. And the rest of it, I do everything else myself other than the logo creation. So Sherburne Outdoors is run by one guy. I don't see that changing anytime soon. And so that is my YouTube setup. Those are the tools I use. If you like any of those, you can go search YouTube. There's tons of videos that will help get you started with them. I do that as well to get the settings just right and so that you can get out there and not worry about being a professional photographer, because almost all of us are not. And the ones that are really know what they're doing, and they're there to help you on YouTube. Again, I use David Manning. I would highly recommend him for helping put together the settings, not only in your GoPro, but he can help with some of the drone stuff out there as well. And that is my setup. Hey, if you got any value out of this, please click that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that bell to be notified when we got new content out. Everybody, thanks for your time. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Everybody have a great day.